So the big question is this: how these entrepreneurs who started from scratch and had no idea how to sell or market their products or services online and then later on made over 6 figures, 7 figures or even 8 figures became best in their niches and found their dream customers to sell. My name is RJ Ahmed and find this all out in our Interviews with Entrepreneurs show. I interviewed these entrepreneurs and tried to pick their brain of how they actually did that and how they took their business as well as their life to the next level. This podcast is all about the entrepreneurs who strive so hard to become super awesome in their niches. Welcome to Interviews with Entrepreneurs. Welcome to Interviews with Entrepreneurs show where we interview entrepreneurs who are super awesome in their niches. And guys, we are back again. I think it is our 71st or 72nd show, which is crazy. And I can't wait to have you guys a special guest today, PRU. And if you don't know who PRU is, he have grown scale multiple 6, 7 online businesses across multiple industries. He have achieved multiple Ducomma Club awards, which is like making $1 million with a sales funnel. He's the founder of Ecommerce Empire Builders, where he shares his tactics, strategies for building wide, profitable e-commerce businesses. He also founder of Untapped Focus, which is the first all-natural supplements for entrepreneurs and high performers. So please welcome Peter Peru. Let me add it up. Hey, Peter.
Woo! What's up,
Thank you
everyone?
so much, man,
Yeah,
for being on
absolutely.
the
I'm hoping
show.
I can, hop on here, share some, wisdom, knowledge. Obviously, we have a couple different businesses that we operate now, from coaching, consulting, services, to e-commerce, to agency work, so and affiliate marketing as well. So hopefully, I can, help everyone that's listening here with the journey and where they're at.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to have you. So the people are gonna be jumping live, use hashtag live. The people are gonna be jumping on replay, use hashtag replay. So like Peter, like could you like walk us through your backstory, how everything started with you, a
Mhm.
little bit of it?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I always call myself 10-year overnight success story. I'm definitely by no means somebody that you see out there that launched a funnel, launched an online business, and made $1 million in my first 6 months.
Hmm.
That never happened to me. It pretty much doesn't happen to anybody. But I got started with around 13 years ago in my college dorm room. At the time, I was going to school, just looking to do something with computers. Thought that was like a good direction to go in, and I had a roommate at the time that was doing affiliate marketing. I came back from a class one day, and he said, "Hey, I made $100. I made $100 in commissions." And I immediately asked him, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, do you have like a website? Like, how are you getting these sales? Like all that. And I think like all of us that get started in making money online, it doesn't make any sense to us. It's like trying to explain to you. I remember when
Hmm.
I at the time when I was just getting started with affiliate marketing back then, I didn't even have a bank account. This was like 13 years ago. I gave this $800 check to my mom, and she's like, "This is fake. There's no way this is real." Went to the bank, cashed it, got $800
Yeah.
in cash, and it was real, right? Because like most people, like that you say, it's not that traditional avenue you'd go with. But to make a long story short, we were making about $200-300 a week affiliate marketing. When I was in college, graduated college, went and worked full time. And just really didn't like it. I'm not here to knock anybody that works full time. I think most
Yeah.
people should be working full time and doing like an online business on the side. I don't think most people are cut out to be full time entrepreneurs, because it's very, very difficult, especially when you have 30 people on your payroll. So
Hmm.
I definitely think most people fit into the work full time, find a job that you like, and then something that maybe you can pay start a little side hustle, and maybe it'll be something you do full time in the future. Graduated, didn't like what I was doing, and I really missed that excitement of building an online business. Like I loved doing the whole affiliate marketing thing in my dorm room. It was fun, but I never thought to myself, like nowadays, like you go online and now you see everybody's like doing this full time, everyone's making a whole bunch of money. But back then, like this stuff didn't exist. This podcast didn't exist. Like nothing like this existed. There was very small amounts of courses that you could even take to learn stuff back then, right? This is really
Yeah.
like the beginning of what internet marketing was, and there was very few people back then that even were doing anything like that. Um, But I decided to kind of get back into it. I started an Amazon business at the time. I thought to myself, hey, why don't I build something, an asset for myself, not promote other people's products and earn commissions? Why don't I start a business that I have, I don't have to, I'm building my own thing, right? Not, just, promoting somebody else's business. Started an Amazon business, did amazingly well. First year, $80,000 per month in Q4, roughly $50,000 a month just in normal throughout the year, which was amazing. But then one day ended up losing that Amazon business. A competitor came to our listing, said, hey, you know what, you're infringing on our patents. And, unfortunately, Amazon is not in the game to, fight a legal battle between sellers.
Hmm.
So what they'll
Yeah.
do is they'll just take your listing down. Even though I wasn't infringing on any patents, these were very boring products, mundane products. Ended up losing that account for a year, took a year to get it back, but the damage was already done. So that was I went into a dark place at that point in my life, because it was like, man, I was so close. Like, I was so close to being able to do this full time. Everybody in my life knew about this business. Like, everybody knew me as like the entrepreneur, like my family, friends, like, and once you start telling everybody your goals, it's like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
comfortable sharing them when you're making $50,000, $80,000 a month. And then when you lose it, it's like, when you tell them about it, they're like, oh, like, and this will be most of your friends and families happens to, like, you'll see that look and they'll be like, oh, I told you so. Like, I told you that was a risk you shouldn't take. I told you shouldn't do that. So I kind of went to a dark place for a few years at that time, just was working full time. And I was like, blaming everybody but myself. Most of us, we're so conditioned to do that. We're blaming everybody, all external circumstances besides looking at ourselves, like, what was the issue that I made? Right. What was the issue that I made? And I kind of decided to get back into it. I said to myself, at that time, obviously I love reading books. As you can tell, I've like a ridiculous amount. I literally try to read at least a book a week. And during that time, I opened up a book. It was the first book I ever read on entrepreneurship, and it's called The Slight Edge. Most of you probably
Hmm.
have read this book. If you didn't, I recommend you do it. But in that book, it makes you like go in there, right? Like your goals and all that stuff. And I remember opening it up, and I had all these like huge goals, huge aspirations, all these things that I wanted to achieve in my life. And I looked at where I was at that moment. I was like, man, like, I'm nowhere near this. Who wrote these goals? I was like a whole different person. And this is like a huge point, not to make, I don't want to take a huge long-winded story here, but I made a realization to myself at that time, that it's so easy to set goals when everything is going well, right? And
Hmm.
all of us do, like, oh, we made our first $1 million funnel. It's so easy to be like, okay, let's do the second, right? But when things aren't going well, like, it's so difficult to stay positive, keep on track, not break things, right? And that's when I made that realization, started doing like the Shopify thing at that point, being like, hey, you know what? I want a business that I have full control of. I don't want to do Amazon. I'm not going to help them keep building their business. Started doing the Shopify WooCommerce stores, was doing well, about $20,000-$30,000 a month in that business after a few months. But the issue with that is I wasn't taking home any money. And this is like a huge thing
Hmm.
that a lot of people have, is like when they run their business, especially with advertising, you don't realize how expensive advertising is, right? Advertising is the
Yeah.
biggest expense for pretty much all of our businesses, right? I don't, care what you're doing, affiliate marketing, e-commerce, agency, like all of your money is going to be tied up in ads. And at that time, I didn't know what funnels were or anything like that. I was in a mastermind though, and this was probably 5 or 6 years ago. I was in an Amazon mastermind group, and a new software was coming out, and they were doing demos for these small mastermind groups, and it was Clickfunnels. So they
Hmm.
kind of demoed what their whole software was, how it worked, how it operated, and it was like light bulbs just went off, because I never, at that time, this was like 6 years ago. I think I was like
Wow.
literally one of the first thousand users on this platform. And it just made so much sense to me. Everybody in that group though that I was in, like, just like, oh, like, nah, like they didn't get it. But to me, I was like, it made so much more sense. Like, oh, like, well, we drive people to landing pages, collect their email addresses, build assets for our business, give them, quantity break discounts, order bumps, upsell, subscription, all these things. And that's, how I took that business, put those kind of products into funnels, grew that to 7 figures. And then kind of how I got into the e-commerce empire builders was I was in a couple mastermind groups of subscription box businesses. That's kind of like our specialty, is we
Yeah.
do like subscriptions. So whether it's digital members area, physical subscription boxes, right? To me, I think that's the bread and butter. No matter what you do, your core of your business should have some sort of recurring aspect to it. It makes your life way easier. Literally, my business has been saved because of my reoccurring. of my business. So make sure you have something like that in there if you don't. But basically I was showing people what I was doing, and I was just typing up messages in these like small mastermind groups I was in. I was like, oh, I'm testing this out. Anyone try this? And people just started asking me, hey, can you like shoot a tutorial video? And I was like, sure. And I just put them on YouTube. You can literally go look at our old YouTube videos,
Yeah.
and that's all it was. I wasn't selling anything. I had nothing to sell. I didn't plan to sell anything because I was running my own businesses. And then somebody literally, I think it was like 3 weeks into just, just kind of talking back and forth with people in that group. And somebody was like, oh, I'll give you $500 to do this XYZ for me. And I was like, whoa, I never thought of that. I never thought I could sell something that I was actively doing. And that's kind of when the whole light bulb went off for me. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like could be another income stream for me. And it's kind of turned into this a thing that I never thought it was going to ever be. I mean,
Yeah.
Ecommerce Empire Builders now has 30 people that work here pretty much full time. So sometimes it's weird. Sometimes the most unlikely is the likely. Like I never thought that this is where I would necessarily be at with this business, but it's an amazing thing. So I know I kind of went long there on that story, but it's 10 years, 13 years. So
Wow. Like what a journey. What a journey,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, like one thing that you mentioned out there that is so relatable, that people would love to make decisions when they're super happy in their business, in their life, but it's super hard for them when they are one of their hardest moment in their life,
Hmm.
and they're just like unable to make those decisions out there were important. They're like just trying to do something, but they're not making like impactful decision at those particular moments, which is
Hmm.
awesome. So for me out there personally, when I started out with ecom with Shopify first, and it didn't work out for me. But it doesn't mean like it don't work out for other people out there. What doesn't work out for you doesn't mean it don't work out for everyone. So like how you actually chose out like, okay, this ecom stuff probably could be my thing out there initially, and like being the part of it, and obviously later on diversify to other things out
Yeah.
there as well. Like how you chose that this is gonna be something that's gonna be a good fit for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like now all of our businesses are at the seven-figure level. We have a seven-figure affiliate marketing business, seven-figure agency. We have all of these income streams now. But if you had taken me
Hmm.
back 10 years ago, and maybe you're in somebody that's listening is in that position now, is you're trying to do too many things, right?
Yeah.
You see all these ads from people like me, right? Coming at you, right? Getting your attention. But here's the thing, they all work. Every single one of these, what you want to start an agency, it works, right? And the only proof you need is all you have to say is anybody successful in this space? Is anybody successful with doing e-commerce? Is anybody successful in agency? Is anybody a successful affiliate marketer? Is anyone a successful influencer? Right? That's all you have to say. So I think the thing is like, it's very competitive now, no matter what you want to get into. Right? You have to commit to it. Like, for example, when I realized Ecommerce Empire Builders started getting traction, I started putting more time and effort into it, right? I was able to automate different parts of my other businesses so I could free up my time to do it. But you can't do that when you're starting out because you are a one-man show. You don't have enough
Yeah.
money or resources to be able to hire people to help you automate things. Like I have an agency, but I'm not really involved in, right? I don't have to because I have a team that does all of that stuff, right? Like, or my affiliate stuff. I don't really worry about it. I don't even pay attention to it because I don't have to, right? I have the team that does it. So just pick something that moderately interests you, right? Whether it's selling digital products, physical products, affiliate, just stick with one until you hit a certain goal with it. Try and automate a couple pieces of it. The reason I personally like e-commerce is because you can do three things all in one, right? And I
Yeah.
think actually everybody listening, no matter what you're doing right now, selling courses or whatever you're doing, you can sell physical products, you can sell digital products. And that's the way we kind of teach is it's not just drop shipping, it's how do you differentiate yourself, right? Selling, we highly recommend selling, ebooks, courses, and things like that, high margin products that are very difficult to sell, right? We all know courses are very difficult to sell, right? Compared to like a $5 fishing lure. Like, trust me, like
Yeah.
people tell me this all the time. It's like they think it's so easy to sell a course, and I take this bet all the time. I'm like, I'll bet you $10,000 right now that if you will easier and more profitably be able to sell a $5, $10 trinket than $1,000 course. and I just like on $1,000 budget, because it's very difficult, right? With courses and coaching and in this kind of like guru space, and it's not to deter anybody from it. It's very profitable, but
Yeah.
you need to make sure you need to be good at marketing to make that stuff work, and not only good at marketing, good at what you actually do, right? And that goes for whatever business. But to kind of go full circle on kind of like, which opportunity, stick with one. Commitment is everything. Most people lack that tremendously. I mean, you have to find that commitment. E-commerce Empire Builders, 1,000 videos. I've shot 1,000 videos for 2 years straight. I shot a video every single day. No one in their right mind
Hmm.
does that, right? But I'm telling you, if you do, you commit to something, you want to start a channel, keep doing it over and over and over again. Even if you only get 2 views, right? Just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Eventually something's going to stick, right? It
Yeah.
just, most people just quit too soon.
Wow, that's absolutely interesting, and that is actually an epic breakdown that you mentioned around the limiting belief that most people have. So, like the way that you've actually diversified everything out there, and you took different type of businesses, e-com, affiliate marketing, and the rest of the business, and like in the fitness niche or like in those things initially, like why you think so? Why people out there just not putting up their babies aside after they get to a certain point in order to diversify to the next thing? Because it is important to diversify. You
Yeah.
can't stick to only one thing and be like, hey, this is gonna be my only thing and not diversify to the next part. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think about that? Why
I
people
think
just don't
people
do
just
it?
get bored, right? And I tell this to my team, all the time. I'm like, I think doing boring stuff, right? Like these
Mhm.
mundane things, like me, like I talk about the same thing every single day for the last 5 years, maybe not
Yeah,
5, 4. Every single day, I've been talking about the same thing every single day because I know there's somebody listening that's hearing it for the very first time, right? And we forget that. And this is why I've seen so many people come and go in this space is they will, okay, they say, okay, first I'm going to, start talking about, econ. Now I'm talking about crypto. Now I'm talking about flipping this. Now I'm talking about and it's like, you just keep jumping around. Like for me, like it's all about doing the boring stuff, right? I think that boring stuff creates mastery in whatever it is that you do. Because if you're like, think about it. If it's boring for you to build funnels and but you're like really really good at it, that means you're basically you've achieved mastery at it. And I recommend just keep going, right? Just keep going. Just
yeah,
that's what you're at. Like, dude, like I'm telling you, when somebody comes to us that's like considering like spending like 20 grand with our services that we have very high up, I want them to go on our channel. I want to go on our podcast, see thousands upon thousands of videos, testimonials, client things, and I want them to go on our website, see all this stuff. But if I was jumping around, they're not going to spend 20, 25K with me or my company if they see me talking about flipping, NFTs or flipping stuff on eBay. You can mix content in like that, like fun stuff. We'll do fun stuff here and there, but the core should never change. You should be very bored of what you do on a daily basis, right? Yeah, you could do the fun things. I recommend express your creativity in your advertising. If you want to be creative somewhere, be creative on your ads, right? That's where you can do fun, test new things, go rent a nice car if you want to, whatever it is that you want to do, go do it in your ads, right? But don't break your
yeah,
business because people break stuff that works all the time. I did this before many times, right? Where I'm like, everything's going well, but then you're like, oh, well, let me like test this or test that, and it breaks stuff. You don't want to, you absolutely don't want to do that, right? So express your creativity or your stuff that you're not bored with in your ads. That's the easiest way because you can launch them, you can see the feedback, and it still loops all back to your business anyway.
Wow, wow, that's really awesome. So during that all particular aspect, I know you've been there, you've done that, especially in the e-commerce market as well. What do you see is the number one mistake in general e-com? We're not like niching down in anything. In general, what do you see is the number one mistake e-com store owners or in general make when they're getting into e-com? Like what do you see is the number one mistake they make initially in e-com in
Yeah, I
general?
think I think most of them have unreasonable expectations, and that doesn't even just go for econ. I think most people just they see like the ads and all that stuff, and I get it. Like, unfortunately, we're at a time where you know you need attention. I've split tested ads so many times, guys, and I can tell you like it's sad how much better if you are next to a nice car, next to a nice house, how much ads. Like I will sit on my desk right here and I will
Yeah.
give like proper value, everything, like telling nobody cares. because it's like you have to stop their attention. I can see why that attracts so many people, because, again, you're kind of like showing this lifestyle, which can happen, but they're not prepped to know that it takes a lot of work for that. So I think specifically with ecom, most people, they don't understand direct response marketing. Like, in a nutshell, they have no idea what direct response marketing is, and that's why they fail, because they drive traffic to a Shopify store that has 1,000 products in it, all these random things that it feels like an Amazon or Walmart, instead of focusing on a specific niche, actually solving problems for people, right, and selling that result of their product to the customer. That's the biggest thing. No matter when you're selling courses, e-commerce stuff, to me, it's all the same, right?
Yeah.
We're all in the game of selling results, right? Whether it's a phone or whatever, a fishing lure, a course, right? People don't just buy products to buy products just to waste money. They're buying something. What is the result? What's that feeling that they get? And it's hard for people to put themselves in that shoes. Especially drop shippers that are just getting into it, because they're just loading up their Shopify stores with 1,000 AliExpress products and just hoping and praying that one of them, somebody buys some stuff, instead of just focusing on any funnels that we build, 4 or 5 products in a funnel, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. You don't need a lot of products to be successful.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I get like so much like relate to it how you actually mentioned that, because I was doing kind of like a similar thing when I started out, like hoping, watching other people out there. Hey, you're gonna like pull up one ad, you're gonna make a lot of money. This is gonna be like 6-figure week, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be my expectation. And then I was running ads, and I was like, why it's not working? Like I'm not making any money. Like I have a limited budget. So like all of these things happened to me, and I could like so relate to this point right now, like
Mhm.
100%. So, like, what do you think is the initial difference? Because let's talk about the mindset at this moment out there. Like, what do you think is the growth mindset difference between a person who is on the 6-figure mark potentially, or the seven figure person out there? What do you think is the growth mindset out there on that particular level initially?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is that person isn't ready to give up a lot of things, right? So for me, like, I have this journal that I pretty much have been using for the last like 8 years, and I literally just write like the date on them, and I love looking back at them. So basically, in these notebooks, I created something called a build system, where it's each of those letters, BUILD, stand for something different, and I credit this to like
Yeah,
everything I've achieved. So B stands for your body. How did you take care of your body today? Most people, they don't take care of their bodies. They don't care, whatever. Like, so if that's the first thing, be somewhat healthy, go for a 10-minute walk, set a goal. Every quarter I set these new
yeah,
build goals. So if you've never worked out before, maybe, okay, just this quarter, all you're going to do is every single day you're just going to be active for 20 minutes, whether it's a walk or whatever, and then you circle your letter. If you hit that goal, fantastic. The U goal stands for you time. So whatever that might be, give yourself permission to go play video games, play golf, whatever it is. Like, find something that you can do, for about an hour or so each and every
yeah,
single day. The I goal, income, and this is the most important one, the income goal. This is, what did you do today to move your business forward? And under this goal, I have something called a daily 6. So every single night, what I do is I plan out 6 things that I want to get done, right? 6 things that I want to get done the following day. Right. Okay. Like, reach out to a few influencers, shoot 3 pieces of content, like, whatever it is. And this is where people lack. They have no structure. They wake up in the morning, they go sit at their desk, and they don't know what they're doing. They just start going into emails. Like, I have a battle plan every single day, so I know I'm moving forward. Most people don't have
yeah,
that because we're not used to that. They don't like teach this kind of stuff in like school or anything like that. So like, a person just getting involved in it, like, their lives are chaos, right? They might have kids, they might have a full-time job they get from work. It's just like, everything is just like so chaotic, right? And you got to get this all out, right? And plan out your days like to a T, like with the time. Like, what are you doing, right? Getting a family, friends on board if you have to, and stuff like that. And that one's a huge. L stands for relationships. That's, how did you take care of your personal and business relationships today? And then D is your development goal. Like, how did you read a book today, or take a course, or whatever it might be? And I found and I've been doing this for like the past 7-8 years, has been the biggest, biggest driver of success for me, and even for our people, because I talk about this a lot. You can't not be successful, because it takes advantage of compounding, right? So like, after a quarter of not working out, and you just worked out for an hour a day this quarter, and you've never worked out before, you would have worked out for 800 hours or whatever it comes out to, 900 hours, right? And that's just in that one quarter. And you could start seeing like the progress really, it really starts compounding over on itself.
Wow, wow, that's really awesome. Like mic drop, 100%. That's crazy. So one thing that I want to ask, like, since you've been in the business from a really long time, I don't know, I'm probably gonna be like 12 or 13 at at that point. I'm 22 right now. So there's a quote by Tony Robbins. Most people overestimate what they can do probably in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. So I
Mm.
want to talk about like why people just don't stay calm of like what are the things they can achieve in a long term, and they get super desperate of like what they are trying to achieve in a short term. Like, what do you think about that? Since you've been in the space from a long time, you probably saw a lot of people have the exact same mindset and
Yeah.
mentality. Like, why people are super desperate and trying to think, like achieve those things like in short term out there, and
Yeah,
like
I
not think
mean, you
about
have
long
to
term.
think about human psychology, right? Like, why do people drink alcohol? Why do people smoke, right? Because we live in a world of like instant gratification. People want fast, they want easy, they want to take the pain away, right? So it's for those same reasons that's products like that exist, right? People, I do love that Tony Robbins quote. It's so true. Like 10 years ago, if you told me
Yeah,
where I'm at right now, I'd be like, no, you're absolutely crazy. You're a liar, right? Like I would have never believed it. Right. So I definitely believe in that quote, but I think most people, they're so short-term minded because their whole life is everything is short term, right? Everybody wants to be rich in their first year of business. And, unfortunately, the game of business is like the toughest in the world. I mean, I forgot. I think it was a Tony Robbins ad that I saw, and he was like, what other game can you play where the more you play it, the more chances you have of failing? And that's business, right? Like the longer you're in business, the more chance you have of failing because most businesses fail. 100, I think it's like
yeah.
99% of business fail by year 4, and only like 0.4% of businesses survive past 10 years. Like, that's scary. Like,
Wow.
you have to think about that. Like it's very, it's not to scare anyone off. It just, you're it is what it is, right? So if are you going to step in here and kind of like fight through that and understand that, come in with reasonable expectations, don't be looking for the instant gratification. I've lost, I trust me, I fall for this stuff too. I think we all do. It's like, oh, this
Yeah.
investment here will
True.
pay XYZ in the short term. We all want that magic thing that's gonna, make us hundreds of millions or tens of millions or whatever your goals are. And we're willing to cut corners. And from what I found is anytime you try and cut corners, it pretty much never ends well. I did recently, but most of the time it doesn't ever work. Like most of the time, like
Yeah.
these, things never work out if you're trying to cut corners.
Wow, that's really interesting. And yeah, like I really think like some people just understand that particular point that they can't be like getting everything out there. They can't be rich like overnight out there, and like it's all of those things in a short term. 100%, they always need to be a short term goals, but like not everything is gonna be instant gratification as you mentioned.
Yeah. Well,
So
most
like,
people they don't even look at like the responsibilities that come with it.
hmm,
Like, especially, a lot of people in this community, especially like they all want the Clickfunnels 2 Comma Club award. Like anybody asks. But it's like you don't even understand like if you start making $100,000 a month, like and you'll be like, yes, that's a hundred, but you don't even understand the responsibility that comes along with that. Right. Like there's a
yeah,
lot. And that's why I say most people are better off just doing this as a side hustle than not, because once you start getting past that 7-figure level, you might our payroll is over $100,000 a month right now. Like that's crazy,
hmm,
right? Like if you told me just to make 100,000, our payroll is just 100 grand a month, right? And like, do you really want that? Right? Do you actually want that? Sometimes I ask myself the same question. I'm like, man, like 100 grand a month, but that's what happens when you build a business, right? And you have like a bigger vision and stuff. So like you just you have to think about it, as corny as it sounds. I think it's like that Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility, but it
yeah,
is true, right? As your business grows, you're going to see that your problems never go away. Never ever
hmm,
ever. You are always going to have problems. Trust me, your problems are going to even be bigger once you make $1 million a month. They're way bigger, I promise you.
yeah, 100%. There's never gonna be peaches and sunshine.
Never. Rarely. It's like literally the only time we probably have where everything's like really cool is like, one of the guys that works with me, Ali, he lives in Dubai. He comes here like once a year. I'll go there. And that's kind of where we try to unwind and just like have a very, fun, extravagant time. But that's about it, man. Like I'm telling you, it's like waking up every single day, showing up. Like for me now, it's not even like I used to just show up for me and my family. Like now I have to like I'm showing up for everyone else's family. I'm already taken care of. I could pretty much retire right now and live out my rest of my days if I really wanted to. But I don't,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever be able to retire. But now I don't even show up. I literally show up for other people now, right? Like I don't even show up for
Hmm.
myself. I literally show up for other people, which is fantastic. Like I love that. I love that I can create jobs for so many people, and they all love what they do.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Peter, one last thing that I want to ask from you is what is the next thing for you? Like, you already built your affiliate marketing business out there, your own e-com business, your supplement business to seven figures, got two Com Club awards, like multiple Dream Car awards. Like, what's the next goal for you out there? You already mentioned you're right now helping
Yeah.
other people, like making that impact, but still, like, what's the next thing for you?
So we got two. All right, and I can show you.
Hmm.
I'll show you.
Okay.
First one, actually, this one's fine. It's not for resale right now. Is my book. So that is coming out in a bit, probably in 2022. The book
Wow.
has taken nearly 2 years to do. So writing a book proper. I'm not talking just like a pamphlet, transcribed webinar. Like this book is like it's like everything I ever known will be in this book right here, and I'm like, super pumped to get this out. So that'll be in early 2022. And then our software. So we've developed our own software. It's called storefunnels.net. Basically, it takes everything Shopify can do. It takes everything that a funnel can do, and it takes everything an Active Campaign or Klaviyo can do, and it puts it all in one. What I found is, especially in like the Shopify world, like to put together a functioning anything, you're going to be spending $300 a month. Same thing with like different sales funnel softwares. You're spending
Yeah.
$400 a month on apps and stuff like that. So we wanted to create something because a lot of people that come to us are beginners, and when you try to tell them to spend $300+ a month on advertising and stuff like that, or not advertising, in tools, like that's a lot of budget. So a lot of our focus, we have a couple hundred beta users in there right now that we're having some great success with. So our book, and then our storefunnels.net software.
Awesome. So we're gonna put up the link of the storefunnels.net absolutely in the comment section down below, also in the show notes, and we're gonna be waiting for the book to come
Yeah.
up and to get launched as well. Well, thank you, Peter, for being on the show. Like, where people can find about you.
Yeah, just you can go to peterpru.com. You can, follow me there, ecommerceempirebuilders.com. You can, check out some of the stuff that we're doing as well. And then if you guys want to check out like our supplement funnel for the physical products, I own another company. It's a supplement business called Untapped Focus, untappedfocus.com. So you can check out all that stuff. Funnel hack me. Go buy my stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Like, any last thing that you want to say before we round the show up?
Oh man, I think we covered pretty much everything. I hope I didn't destroy anyone's dreams in here. I'm usually I try to be as honest as possible with people. Just look at the numbers. Most
Yeah.
people aren't successful. Just go into it with reasonable expectations, right? Don't try and automate your business. Like I see this another issue. Everyone tries to automate everything before they even made any money, right? Just understand it's a process, and I promise you, if you stick with it long enough, even if you're maybe always everything you're trying to is failing, eventually, I believe everybody, can either have a side hustle or potentially do this full time. So, keep your head up.
Awesome. Fact bombs right away. Well, thank you, Peter, again for being on the show. And thank you guys for watching. We're definitely going to see you guys in the next episode next week. Until then, bye bye.